Hey there, this is Chase Jackson with another exciting video in our video series, Teaching Boys to be Superior Men. And the topic of our video today is self-esteem. There is no bigger judgment that we can pass in life than the one we pass on to ourselves. And this judgment is largely based on our childhood and how we are treated by our parents. So when teaching children, specifically in my case young boys, it is critical that we do the right things to raise their self-esteem. And this involves more than telling them how great they are, because self-esteem is not created through words, it's created through actual actions. So we look forward to telling you about it in this short presentation. Before we start, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel your self-esteem is? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the self-esteem of your children? My self-esteem today, I would say, is about a 1.5. We're having a rough one. Self-esteem is the reputation that we give ourselves. And before we can focus on giving high self-esteem to our kids, it's important that we focus on our own esteem, because the way we feel about ourselves and how much respect and likability we have for our own selves is going to reflect on our kids, on what they think of themselves and how they view their parents. So self-esteem is really the reputation that we give ourselves. And when it comes to our kids, we want to show them unconditional love. We want to treat them with respect. We want to instill discipline. And we want them to have high goals for themselves that are going to take hard work and discipline. Because once those goals are reached, that's where the achievement can be celebrated, and that's where the esteem can be built. So when you look at the world's social issues, anxiety, depression, violence, abuse, poverty, oppression, wars, self-esteem plays a role in all these things. And it kind of just showcases the importance of self-esteem and what it is, and just the magnitude of the issue at hand when raising kids, how important it is to instill a high level of self-esteem in them. Just think about any world issue and think about whether self-esteem plays a part, because in most cases it will be, and in many cases it'll be the center of it. So how can we raise our kids' self-esteem? Well, the first thing we can do is focus within on ourselves. And we are a lot wiser than we think. And one way to put in the effort to raise your own self-esteem and to raise the self-esteem of the people that you are close to is to live consciously. And a strategy to live consciously is a strategy called sentence completion. If I spend 5% more effort today focusing on my priorities, what would happen? If I put in 5% more effort today focusing on my kids, ... If I spent 5% more effort today thinking about other people, ... If I put in 5% more effort on my marriage, ... Complete these sentences in your head. Ask yourself these questions every day, and consciously and subconsciously, you're going to notice yourself putting in the work that's going to provide outcomes that are going to raise your own self-esteem because of the actions that you are providing for yourself and others, and It's also going to better your kids because it's just a step up in effort and awareness that you are providing them. So live consciously. We are wiser than we think. Apply the sentence completion strategy. Self-assertiveness, i.e. self-authorship. The root of the word authorship, of course, is author. So you want your child to be the author of his own book, the author of his own fairy tale, the author of his own life. As the years go by, the older we get, the more standards and societal norms and basically a box that we're put in and about how we're supposed to act. And that can have a detrimental effect on our self-esteem. We want our kids to be assertive. We want them to be free-spirited. We want them to build things. We want them to create things. Because by building and creating, you're really putting who you are into reality. And that's something that is a lot harder to do when you're sitting in an office cubicle working for someone else. So encourage your kids to build, encourage your kids to create, encourage your kids to use art, encourage your kids to use self-expression. Self-expression is a critical step towards self-actualization, which we have learned from Abraham Maslow is the top level of human needs, of your human needs being met. And what more do you want for your child than having all his life needs met? So be creative. Tell your kids to be creative. Don't let them go in a box. We got plenty of time to be in a box when we die. Goals. You want your kids to have short-term goals, long-term goals, and lifelong goals to advance their self-esteem. Because goals bring purpose, goals bring discipline, goals bring achievement, and goals really give us the incentive to put in the work to better ourselves every day. And there's examples all over the world of the importance of goals and in terms of what they can do for us and our self-esteem. You think of Americans and successful businessmen and celebrities, and you think of how far and how high these people have to get to reach those levels in such a competitive environment. And they do that by setting really high goals for themselves and busting their butt to reach those goals. Whether it's through music or art or business, it's the same process of setting a goal and taking incremental steps every day to get there. And I was just in Bangkok, Thailand, and this idea of goals is not just a Western materialistic thing. Thailand is 95% Buddhist, and you think of the Buddha was a person who had huge goals, and that was to seek out enlightenment and to be able to educate his people around him and his followers on what he has learned and the amazing things that enlightenment can bring. So goals go back thousands of years all over the world. It's a critical piece for your kids to provide them with short-term goals, long-term goals. As the parent, you be the visionary and let them steer the ship. You cannot have high self-esteem without having integrity. Integrity is our beliefs, standards, values, and how our actions match these beliefs, standards, and values. It's very easy to say, I am this, I represent that, I am going to do this, I am going to do that. But if you do not follow through with what you say, then you do not have actual integrity because your beliefs are not matching your actions, and your self-esteem is going to reflect that. So in terms of being a parent, just to kind of underline this, way more important than what you tell your child is what you show your child. Do what I say, not as I do. Wrong answer. It's more important that you have your child do what you do rather than do what you say, because that is going to have the much deeper effect in terms of their future and their self-esteem. Integrity. Having high self-esteem is my refusal to be in an adversarial relationship with myself. I refuse to not think highly of myself. I refuse to have my kids not think highly of themselves. And in this refusal, we are going to put in the work and the appropriate actions in place that we know we have to do that will boost our own self-esteem and will boost our kids' self-esteem. So all you out there, refuse to be in an adversarial relationship with yourself. You know what you have to do. Be a parent that your kids can aspire to.